them. It was me the whole time. What are you doing? He said. Oh, I got it. 2 more points. Our intensity of love for the lost has failed. In Acts 8 and verse 4, it says that those disciples that were persecuted there, they went everywhere preaching the word. And yet I'm afraid this is what's happened. We've gotten to where we think what we're supposed to do is we're supposed to get a preacher to come, and he's going to stand up and preach, and they're just supposed to walk in through the door. But that ain't going to happen. I mean, somebody might. You might have 1 or 2. But that's just not going to happen. Jesus said what we need is laborers. Go to Matthew 9. In Matthew the 9th chapter, in verse 36, he saw the multitudes and he was moved with compassion for them because they were weary and scattered, like sheep having no shepherd. Then he said to his disciples, the harvest truly is plentiful, but the laborers are few. Therefore pray the Lord of harvest to send out laborers into his vineyard. We've lost our compassion for the lost, our zeal for reaching out to the lost. Reminds me of a boy that was walking along the beach, and there were starfish all over the beach that had been washed ashore, and he was just over there picking up and throwing out, picking up and throwing out, picking up and throwing out. And this old man came along and said, "What are you doing, buddy?" He said, "Well, these starfish are here on the beach and they're all dying." He said, "There's millions of them. Do you really think that you're having an impact? Do you really think you're really doing anything? You think you're making a difference?" And the boy reached down and picked up another one and threw it out there in the water and said, "Made a difference to that one." And that's exactly right. Made a difference to that. And then our last point is our desire for heaven is just not strong. Kenny Chesney had a popular song a few years back that said this: "Everybody wants to go to heaven, have a mansion high above the clouds. Everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to go now." Said preacher, "Maybe you didn't see me throw an extra 20 in the plate. There's one for everything I did last night and one to get me through today. Here's a 10 to help you remember next time you got the Lord's ear. Say, I'm coming, but there ain't no hurry. I'm having fun down here." Don't you know that everybody wants to go to heaven? Get their wings and fly around. Everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to go now. That's it. That's America. Now? Go to heaven now, oh please. We've lost our desire for heaven. We finish with Colossians 3. Colossians chapter 3 and verse 1. "If then you were raised with Christ, seek those things which are above where Christ is, sitting at the right hand of God. Set your mind on things above and not on things on the earth. For you died, and your life is hidden with Christ in God, and when Christ is our life appears, then you also will appear with him in glory." You see that? Set your mind on things above where Christ is. When Christ, who is our life, he's my whole life, appears, we shall appear with him in glory. Everybody talking about heaven ain't going. C.S. Lewis said, "Aim at heaven and you'll get the earth thrown in." I think what he means by that is that those who live for the Lord are in the best position to enjoy this world. One time I stopped at Big Stone Gap down here, wherever that lookout is coming up. I was by myself, not with Susan that time. But I stood there at that overlook and I just sang, "This is my Father's work." I'm persuaded that I probably enjoy that spot more than most because I know who made all that and I honor who made all that. You aim at heaven, you'll get the earth thrown in. You aim at earth and you'll get neither. And then he said this: if you read history, you will find that the Christians who did the most for the present were precisely those who thought most of the next. It is since Christians have largely ceased to think of the other world that they have become so ineffective in this one. That's it. Contribution versus commitment. Are you committed? When I preached this lesson back home, I said several times in the lesson, "Preacher, do you have anything on commitment? Preacher, do you have anything on commitment?" One lady came out the door and she looked me in the eyes and said, "Preacher, you got anything for bruises?" And it really had that effect on all of us. Are you committed? Are you committed? Think about it while we stand and as we sing together. Oh, Jesus, I surrender all to Him. I freely give. I will ever love and trust Him in His presence daily live. I surrender all. I surrender all to Thee, my blessed Savior. I surrender all to Jesus. I surrender humbly at His feet. I bow. Worldly pleasures all forsaken. Take me, Jesus, take me now. I surrender all. I surrender all to Thee, my blessed Savior. I surrender all to Jesus. I surrender, Lord. I give myself to Thee. Fill me with Thy love and power. Let Thy blessings fall on me. I surrender all. I surrender all to Thee, my blessed Savior. I surrender all. Let me just quickly say that tonight I'm going to do a lesson called Home, the Center of Our Lives. And what I'm trying to stress in that is every one of us are products of our homes. And sometimes the reason we are the way we are is because of the home that we grew up in, whether that's a good thing or whether that's a bad thing. But what we're going to show tonight is that your home, the one you're in control of